And we're back with some more Calgary Flames franchise mode in FHM 9. And in this one, we have free agency and the draft. And in the last one, I tried to go after Charlie McAvoy. Of course, at 32 years of age, still a really good player. But unfortunately, Boston went after him and gave him an astounding amount of money that I just did not want to match. I think it was about $12 million for 3 years with a no-move clause. That was not happening. So I went after Carson Lambos, who I gave I believe, a $6 million offer to. And he comes around with an offer from Montreal. So that brings his price to, I believe, around 7.8. And if I want him, I have to probably offer at least 8 mil in that case. Is that something I'm willing to do for Lambos? I don't think so. I mean, he is good, don't get me wrong, but that's just a little too much, I think. I would rather go after someone like Shakir Muhammadulin. Still quite good offensively as we take a look at his offensive numbers. Last year, he only had 26 points, but the year before, 30. The year before that, 43. Of course, that was a career high. So he does have the potential to be a 40-point guy. However, what you are getting with Muhammadulin, more so than with Lambos, is the defensive category. With the defensive read at 18, stick checking at 16, positioning at 16, hitting at 15. Whereas with Lambos, none of that is really where it needs to be. And yeah, that's much better. He's asking for 4.7 for 3 years. So if he can not only perform better defensively, which I imagine he would based off his defensive category, but also put up the same amount of points that he did a few years ago when he had that 40-point season, then this contract will be much, much better than what I would have to pay to Carson Lambos. So I'll give Muhammadulin 5 mil for 3 years, and I will withdraw my offer for Carson Lambos. And with that, we now have the draft, so let's get right to it. And where are we in the draft order? I cannot imagine we're anywhere near the top yet. We're at 24. Now, one guy I do want to keep my eye on is Jason Sheets, as he's currently ranked at, 79? But with how the mock draft works in this game, I'm not entirely confident that I'm going to be able to get him at 79. He might go in the top 10 for all we know, because he's, as far as ability goes, he's ranked second in the entire draft here. And as far as potential, he's ranked 4th. So I don't think he'll fall to 79, just a guess. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he goes top 10. Maybe even top 5, honestly, based off what we're seeing here. But I guess with that, let us advance through the draft, and we'll see what we get with our pick. I don't think there's any trades I want to make. I know at some point I'm going to want to trade Beecher just because of his ridiculous asking price. I believe it's, 6.8 for 3 years. I'm not willing to do that unless he has a drastically better season this year than last year. So I'm pretty sure I do want to trade him at some point this year. It's just a matter of when do I want to trade him. Do I want to trade him now or the trade deadline? Let's see. Are there any teams who might be willing to trade for a player like Beecher in the top, maybe 10, maybe 15? I can't imagine Vancouver would. Oh my goodness, this is taking so long to scroll through. This is as fast as it's going. Wow, this is slow. This used to be much faster. Looking through team history, Beecher at half his salary for Buffalo's first will work. Probably. Where are they in the draft? They're at 19. I think I'd have to see what players available at 19 first before I go through that trade. But besides that, nothing else really too interesting. So I think we're going to go ahead at least to pick 19. So the first pick in the draft, Troy Kilrea as expected to the Vancouver Canucks. And at number 2, you have Kurt Andrews to Florida. Harry Gavin to the Rangers, Roy Bryant to the Chicago Blackhawks, Jason Sheets is still there. Number 5, Ori Tikva to Seattle, Pontus Sjöstrand to the Wild. I am kind of shocked to still see Sheets there. I would imagine he's gonna go soon, sometime before pick 19. Carl-Philippe Maurice to the Blues, Billy Turnbull to the Islanders, Austin Hergott to the Capitals, Ari Nuvanen to the Predators, and Aaron DiGiuseppe to the Colorado Avalanche. Wow. I'm shocked he's still there at 19, actually. So I might make that trade. Because he is a pretty good defenseman. Mental category aside, he is a pretty good defenseman already at age 18. I mean, I'll do due diligence here and see if there's anybody else interesting, but Jason Sheets is definitely a steal at 19, I think. Mock draft has him at 213. Let's see the rest of his scouting card. Probably wind up being around the same skill level as Bowen Byram. Strongest part of his game is playmaking. He's extremely strong, and few opponents can match him in that department. Sheets has terrific stamina, and a big workload is no problem for him. Excellent on-ice vision, just knows what to do with the puck. Skating is absolutely outstanding. Weakest part of his game is goal scoring. That's fine, he's a defenseman, and is a frequent visitor to the disabled list. So I'm guessing that would be a factor in the teams that have skipped on him so far. Personality-wise, he gets along well with everyone. Pressure is Sheets' middle name. He thrives on it and pretty adaptable to a new environment. So literally the only negative I see here is the injury tendency. That's it. And obviously, you know, the mental category is a little bit low, but everything else is good. I don't get why he's ranked. I don't get why he's ranked at 213. he should be a first round pick. Yeah, I really don't understand how this game does the mock draft. I mean, there's a goaltender there, Christian Peltonen, but he's a long ways away. We do need a goaltender and we do need defensemen, but, you know, Jason Sheets, he looks like he could be a solid two-way defenseman for probably the rest of the GM mode, honestly. I don't know how long that's going to be, but I think he would be a good fit regardless of where he is in the lineup. Like, just given his overall playing ability, he could be power play, penalty kill, top 6, top 4. He thrives on pressure, so he'll be good in playoff games. I don't see why I shouldn't make the trade to get him here, especially with the amount of money that Beecher is asking for, right? Like 6.8. I'm sorry, I can't justify that. Yeah, we're making that trade. We're making that trade to Buffalo. So Beecher at half his salary for the next year for Buffalo's first round pick, offer trade, and finalize. There you go. Trade between Calgary and Buffalo sends Beecher to the Buffalo Sabres in exchange for a first round pick, which we will use right now. And Jason Sheets, welcome to the Calgary Flames. That is a solid pick. That's a solid trade and a solid pick. As good as Beecher is physically and defensively, I just don't. I'm not paying that kind of money for a player like him. There was nothing really spectacular about him that warranted that kind of salary. And then, not to mention, with the extension of Carter Hart coming up, who's asking for 9.3, along with some other guys who are making more money now than they were last year, I wouldn't have felt comfortable giving Beecher that much money. And obviously, we need defensemen for our prospects pool. So I think that's a really solid trade. And with that being said, there's no one else I'm really too interested in to move up from 24. So we'll just pick to till human here. How about Heinonen? He was projected to be picked at 7? Really? I mean, he's got some good stats last year. In Europe, he's got a 914 save percentage in 18 games. Ranked number 2 on the European goalies list. Apparently, the consensus on him is that he's a 4-star potential. Our scouting has him out at 2.5. I mean, we've seen 2.5-star goaltenders who have been great before in franchise modes, so I don't think it would be a terrible idea to take him. We have Gabriel Daig in the minors still, actually, who's a 3-star talent now, so I may as well just call him up while I remember. But these guys here, Chechelev and Malouin, not very promising there with the 1-star potentials. So once Alexander and Hart move on, because they're 31 and 28 respectively, I think that having someone like Heinonen in the system would be a really good thing for the future, and by that point he'll probably be a backup for Gabriel Daig. Yeah, I think I'll take Heinonen here. And there is also Jeremy Dubuc, who's ranked at number 3 for North American goalies. 905 save percentage last year in 45 games. Then there's also this guy. Nah, he's not as impressive as the other two. It's between Heinonen and Dubuc here. So I'm going to compare them on the draft list. Overall wise, I give a slight edge to Dubuc just because of his glove being much better at 15 compared to 11. Although Heinenen's recovery is much better at 15. Compared to 13. But besides that, there's not much of a difference between these two. Looks like Dubuc's mental ratings are also slightly better. However, consensus has Dubuc at a 3-star potential, whereas it has Heinonen at a 4-star potential. But obviously that's not what our scouting says, so this is a tough decision. Grade-wise, Dubuc had a much better grade for the past 3 years, actually, than Heinonen did. Look at Heinenen's grades. He's had 40s up until this season where he had a 61. Well, then again, he only played a handful of games in those 3 seasons combined. I don't know, it's definitely a toss-up, but I gotta give the slight edge to Dubuc. So I will be taking him with this pick. Welcome to the Calgary Flames, Jeremy Dubuc. And our next pick at 56, Heinonen is still there. So we could take him. And honestly, at this point, there's not much left that's really impressing me. And we're in the 2nd round, by the way. So the depth of this draft is definitely not great. A bunch of garbage, actually. I guess Heinonen is the choice here. I'll take a quick look at some of these guys, but yeah, I can't imagine I'll find anything too interesting here. Donahue might be okay. Only a 1.5 star potential though, according to our scouts. He was projected to be picked at 15, so he should have been picked already based off that. I think he has some potential to probably push past 1.5 star. Yeah, I mean, I could see him being a nice bottom 6 forward, potentially. Yeah, I'll take Donahue here. And at pick 88, it looks like the other goaltender that we were watching is now taken. And is there anybody else who I'd be interested in here, or am I just going to skip the rest of the draft? Gu Yao from China. He doesn't look too bad. I mean, he's got the half-star ability, 1.5 star potential, but good hitter, good checker, good passer. Shooting accuracy is pretty good as well. Determination's at 16. I'm not going to say he's going to definitely be an NHL player, but if he does hit his potential, then I could see him being a solid replacement player or fourth liner. And there's really not much else interesting here. So yeah, sure. Gu Yao, welcome to the Calgary Flames. Haris Saliko is pretty interesting because he only has a 1-star ability, 1-star potential, but that offensive category is already pretty decent actually. So if nothing else, he'd be good help for the AHL team. Yeah, I mean at this point, I don't see why not. I'll take him. And nothing else really standing out to me here, so I think I'm going to have the computer finish the draft. Yep, there you go. Shakir Mukhamadullin has signed with your Calgary Flames. And so with that signing, we have improved our defensive core just a little bit. And our top 4 now looks like Bernier, Hanifin, Byram, and Mukhamadullin. And then Amory and one of Corbet, McNeil, or Martin on the back end in the top 6. So pretty good. Obviously still not optimal, but I think we're making the best of our options here. And I think that is about it for the offseason of year number 1 here with these Calgary Flames. So let's advance to the preseason of year number 2. Yeah, McAvoy went to the Bruins for 11 mil essentially. We got outbid hard there by Boston. And then Carson Lambos to Montreal for 7.13. And remember, he was asking us for 7.8. Yeah, that's just, that wouldn't have been worth it in my opinion. I think we got a good deal with Shakir Mukhamadullin. Actually, while I'm thinking of it, do I want to bring over Jason Sheets to the NHL this year? I mean, he certainly could play. He had 69 points with the MTDP last year, but I think I'm going to let him do 1 year in college at minimum. I just want to see how he performs there. And by then, hopefully he'll have some of his mental ratings up there, like team player and leadership. I think I'll let him do at least 1 year in college before I bring him over. The same for Donahue and Dubuque. I don't think there's really going to be a spot for them on the roster this year, so may as well just let them play in their junior teams. And into the Hockey Hall of Fame are Blake Wheeler, Brent Burns, Theo Fleury, and Gary Suter. All right, so we're at the preseason of year number 2. Let's take a look at our roster heading into year number 2. You have Hart, Daig, Alexander, and Robel in goal. I imagine it'll be Hart and one of Daig and Alexander. Robel will probably be starting in the AHL. On defense, you have Bernier, Hanifin, Byram, Mukhamadullin, Emery, Corbet, McNeil, and Martin. Markle's just up here as an injury replacement from the playoffs. And at forward, you have Elfring, Brisson, Coronado, Stankoven, Michaud, Villanueva, Harrington, Martin, Pegamagabo, Crystal, Stromgren, Delisle, and Smith. Actually, I've decided to hand out a few training camp tryouts, and on tryout we have Yao, Meehan, Saliko, and Donahue. Ooh, Owen Martin in preseason goes down with a 6-week injury. All right, we are basically done with the preseason here, and here's our roster to start out year number 2. You have Hart, Alexander, and Daig in goal. Couldn't decide between the 3 of them because the coach never played to Gage Alexander, so I might actually end up trading him. Or like if Daig doesn't perform well, then I might try sending him down to the AHL. He's not waiver eligible though, so either way, someone is getting traded, it looks like. Just a matter of who. It'll probably be Alexander. As much as it sucks, because he performed very well last year in 15 games played, but he is the odd man out when it comes to potential. He's also 28, so Daig has the age advantage as well. And on defense, you have Bernier, Hanifin, Byram, Mukhamadullin, Emery, Corbet, and Martin. And at forward, you have Elfring, Brisson, Coronado, Stankoven, Michaud, Villanueva, Harrington, Pegamagabo, Crystal, Stromgren, Bell, Freed, and Walker. And of course on the injury list you have Owen Martin for the next 6 weeks, so definitely going to be missing him. He is a key part of our forward core. He had 44 points last year, but we should be able to get by without him in the meantime. So I think that is about it for now, and in the next one we'll get through year number 2 with your Calgary Flames. See you guys then.